To your question about see, I have practiced both as as a mediator in an online setting and in an in-person setting. I am a bit, I'm not sure which side I support more, because I've done both sides of the mediation, but I think I've done more in-person mediations than online. And most of the mediations that I have done are designed in a way that everyone who was a major stakeholder and who was involved in the dispute, because one of the most important things in mediation is that everyone who's connected with a dispute must be taken into consideration. You cannot have a blind spot to say, oh, we forgot to ask that person who had a major stakeholder in this dispute whether they also agree to this. Because you might come up with an agreement and that stakeholder can just rip it apart. So a good mediator makes sure that everyone who's involved in the dispute, everyone who that dispute might affect, has been taken into consideration and their voice has been heard. And that's the watertightness of that mediation agreement. If you want to have a good mediation agreement, you have to make sure every possible angle is covered. And so mediators take a lot of effort in this. They use a lot of time before the mediation starts to prep and find out all the different kind of, I would say, stakeholders who are involved. So in an in-person setting, sometimes what would be difficult is to reach out to people who say are disconnected, who are disabled, who probably can't travel, who are in another country altogether. It's too expensive to travel up and down. People who are busy at work, who do not have the time in their schedule to come for mediation sessions. So all that is kind of taken away and made easy in an online setting for sure. But what I miss in an online setting is the personal touch, right? When you're in the room with somebody, you're around a round table, you can actually watch body language, you can empathize better. So it's a bit, I would say, it has both have pros and cons. And I, at this point of time in my career, I would not know which one to side with. But I think every good mediator and every good mediation institute will now look to see which case is better handled online and which case is better handled offline. So I think that's where the question and answer is. It's about figuring out what's the best mode of mediating for that particular case. If the mode, and sometimes parties come very clearly and say, I don't want to do this online because they fear the online setting. Sometimes they don't know whether it's a trust factor. Maybe they just don't want to be in the same place. So on the other hand, there are some parties who come and say, I don't want to see that person's face in your office. So I would prefer doing this on Zoom. So it's right now with ODR, with online mediation, we have a great opportunity to say, if you don't want to be in person, you have online. If you don't want to do it online, we have the office scenario. So I think that's where it really, I would say, boils down to. And parties have that final choice to decide how they want to go about with things.